Welcome to aminacademy.com. In Psychology of Sex, we'll discuss about how men and women think about sex. Men's sexual experience and attitudes. Do men really think about sex more often than women do? It's widely assumed that men think about sex more than women do, but in studies, the differences are fairly small, and men also throw out about other basic human needs like food more often than women. Surveys estimate that men may think about 6 8 times a day on average, as opposed to about 6 times for women. Men do appear more likely to think about certain kinds of sex, such as threesomes, far more often than women. Do men have more sexual partners than women do? The fact that heterosexual men tend to support having more sexual partners than most heterosexual women admit to has long puzzled researchers. How does sexual attraction after men's behavior? In studies, when men's sexual attraction is activated through the viewing of sexy photos, they support being more likely to lie, cheat, or steal, and less likely to return money they had not earned. Other research which shows that men are more attracted to and more likely to pursue women who seem more vulnerable to exploitation because of their youth, immaturity, or intoxication. Who are choosier about sex partner, men or women? Evolutionary psychology suggests that when it comes to mating, men and women may pursue short term or long term strategies with very different goals. When pursuing short term mates or hookups, men tend to seek sexual variety much more than women. They pursue a higher number of partners and consent to sex more quickly than do men. Women who prioritize partner quality in both short and long term mating scenarios. Women's sexual experiences and attitudes. Do men or women desire sex more? Recent research has successfully debunked many long held stereotypes about differences between male and female desire. For example, women enjoy casual sex about as much as men do, and admit to that in studies when the perception of social stigma is eliminated. Also, women are choosier about mates only when it comes to choosing men who approaches them. When women approach men for casual hookups, they are no more or less discriminating. How do men deal with low sexual desire? An individual's belief in how sexual desire works may have a significant effect on how well they deal with a decrease in libido. Women who believe sexual desire is an entity that should remain stable throughout their lives tend to have more difficulty dealing with their decline. How do women with high sex drives manage relationships? Women's sexual desire varies greatly, as does men's, and some women have very high levels of sexual desire. In surveys, such women report struggling with a cultural bias against women with high sex drives, but they also report having higher sexual self esteem than other women and are more likely to talk about sex with their partners, including their wants and fantasies, and to practice mindfulness during sex. Now we'll discuss further detail about how men and women think about sex. Men and women to have more frequent sexual thoughts, though differences are smaller than commonly believed, and also extend to other needs like food and sleep. While male, while male sexual desire is often described as more stable, women's desire can be more variable, influenced by psychological and situational factors and influenced by emotional intimacy. When may pursue Men may pursue patterned sex as a way to connect, while women might see emotional conversation as a prerequisite for desire. Frequent of sexual thoughts. Frequency of sexual thoughts varies significantly by individual, with studies showing men average about around 90 thoughts per day and women around 10 thoughts. Though these are averages and not strict rules, other factors influencing thought frequency, including general desire for food and sleep, and psychological and social factors such as stress, mood, and cultural norms. It is normal for sexual thoughts to occur often, rarely, or not at all, and changes in hormonal levels, especially during puberty, can increase such thoughts. Men and women. Studies indicate men think about sex more often than women, with one study reporting 90 thoughts about sex a day for a man compared to 10 for women. Broader needs. However, men also thought more about food and sleep, suggesting a general tendency towards more frequent thoughts about basic needs. Factors influencing desire. Psychological factors. Sexual desire is influenced by a combination of biological, psychological, and socio-cultural factors. Psychological factors like stress, anxiety, depression, and post-sexual trauma and body image issue can lower desire, while positive factors such as happiness and self-confidence can enhance it. Relationship dynamics, including intimacy, trust, communication, and attachment style, also play a significant role. Finally, sociocultural factors such as cultural beliefs, restrictive norms, and experience of marginalization can impact a person's sexual desire and satisfaction. Hormonal influence. Testosterone, more abundant in men, is linked to sex drive. Emotional connections. Women's desire can be more rapidly influenced by psychological and situational factors. For example, emotional conversation can open a woman's willingness to desire sex. Self perceptions. A woman's desire can fluctuate based on factors like how desirable she feels or how she feels about her relationship. Different perceptions of sex. Different perceptions of sex are shaped by psychological, social, and biological factors, leading to varied experience and interpretations. Women often report higher sexual anxiety and lower sexual optimism, but are more attracted to romantic notions and sexuality. Men tend to show higher sexual responsiveness, but may be more prone to sexual over perceptions bias. Mis- Misinterpreting a potential partner's sexual interest. Societal expectations, hormonal fluctuations, and individual experiences all influence how people pursue and navigate sexual situations and their own sexual selves. Men, partnered sex may be pursued as a method to establish connections. Women, emotional conservations can be precursor to a woman's desire and willingness for sexual intimacy. Underlying influences and the psychology of sex is influenced by a combination of biological, that is hormones, genetics, psychological, mental health, past trauma, personal values, and social, cultural norms, relationships, socialization factors that interact to shape thoughts, desires, and behaviors related to sexuality. These influences affect individual sexual experiences, attractions, orientation, and satisfaction and can manifest on pleasure, connection, anxiety, or dysfunctions depending on the interplay of these various factors. Sex role. Sex role expectations may influence how individuals report or even pursue their sexual cognitions, potentially exaggerating differences. Individual variations. There are a significant variation in sexual thoughts among individuals regardless of gender. So far we discussed about in psychology of sex, we discussed about how men and women think about sex. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.